They found a skull in a cave in southern Africa, 300,000 years old. But it has DNA that shouldn't exist. Not Neanderthal, not Denisovan, not Homo sapiens. Something else. And it's forcing scientists to ask a terrifying question. What if we weren't the first civilization? In early 2024, a team of archaeologists uncovered a fossil that could rewrite everything we know about human evolution. This isn't just another ancient skull. This is a face, a mind, that lived long before our species was supposed to exist. And it's not alone. Hidden in the rock, they found tools, symbols, even traces of fire use, 100,000 years earlier than science says was possible. Today, we're going to show you the first ever 3D reconstruction of this being. We'll dive into the DNA evidence, the suppressed theories, and the one artifact that suggests they were trying to warn us. It started in the Drakensberg Mountains. A small team from the University of Cape Town was mapping a newly exposed cave system eroded by heavy rains. Deep inside, behind a collapsed rock wall, they found a chamber, and inside it, a skull, perfectly preserved, lying on a stone shelf, like it was placed there on purpose. Radiocarbon dating was impossible. The sample was too old. But uranium-thorium dating placed it at 315,000 years, older than any known Homo sapiens fossil, and yet it looked almost human. But the real shock came in the lab. When they extracted mitochondrial DNA, the sequence didn't match anything in the database, not even close. Let's look at the skull. At first glance, it resembles early Homo sapiens, but look closer. The brain volume? 1,650 cubic centimeters. That's 200 cc larger than the average modern human, larger than Einstein's. And the shape? Elongated, with expanded parietal lobes, areas linked to spatial reasoning, consciousness, even mystical experiences. The eyes were huge, adapted to low light. Maybe they lived underground, or were active at night. The jaw is small. No wisdom teeth, suggests a soft diet. Cooked food, agriculture. But agriculture wasn't invented for another 280,000 years. And the most disturbing feature, a small symmetrical depression in the frontal bone, like a port or an implant site. The DNA analysis was led by Dr. Lena Petrova from the Max Planck Institute. What she found, she called the third branch of humanity. We've always known about three human-like species, Homo sapiens, Neanderthals, and Denisovans. But this genome shares only 87% with us. For comparison, humans and chimps share about 98.8%. This is not a cousin. This is a sibling from a forgotten branch of evolution. They named it Homo Antiquus, the ancient human. But here's the twist. Homo Antiquus DNA shows signs of genetic engineering. What? Yes, there are sequences that look artificial, like CRISPR edits. But 300,000 years ago, impossible. Unless they had technology, or someone gave it to them. The skull wasn't found in a random cave. The entire chamber was designed. The walls are covered in carvings, not random scratches. Complex geometric patterns, fractals, Fibonacci spirals, even what looks like a star map. And the floor? Polished stone, not natural, and aligned, perfectly, with the summer solstice sunrise. Every year a beam of light would hit the skull's resting place. This wasn't a burial, this was a shrine. But here's what they didn't tell the public. Near the skull, they found a small obsidian tablet, etched with symbols, and when researchers ran it through AI pattern recognition, it matched no known language. But the structure? It resembled Sumerian cuneiform from 250,000 years later. How? Unless history is not a straight line, maybe it's a cycle. Mainstream science says civilization began 6,000 years ago in Mesopotamia, but what if that's just the latest version? Geologists have found evidence of massive floods, asteroid impacts, and sudden climate shifts every 100,000 years or so, each time wiping out advanced cultures, leaving only myths behind. Plato wrote about Atlantis. Hindu texts speak of the Sarasvati civilization. The Dogon people of Mali knew about Sirius B, a star invisible to the naked eye, thousands of years before telescopes. Could Homo Antiquus have been part of a forgotten civilization, one that reached space-level tech, then vanished? And if so, what destroyed them? The answer might be in the skull itself. Because this being didn't die of old age, the forensic team found something chilling. The back of the skull has a fracture, not from a fall, from a high-velocity impact, like a bullet. But bullets didn't exist 300,000 years ago, unless they did. Or maybe it wasn't a weapon. Maybe it was radiation. Scans show abnormal bone crystallization, similar to victims of nuclear fallout. And soil samples from the cave? Elevated levels of iridium and plutonium-244, a rare isotope linked to supernovae or nuclear explosions. Was this the end of their world? A war? A disaster? Or an extinction event sent from above? There's a symbol carved near the entrance, a circle with a line through it. In modern hazard signs, that means do not enter. Danger. Was it a warning for us? Here's where it gets personal. When scientists compared Homo Antiquus DNA to living humans, they found something shocking. About 3% of the human genome, scattered across populations in Africa, Australia, and the Amazon, matches Homo Antiquus, not Neanderthal, not Denisovan, this. Which means some of us carry their blood. But it gets weirder. That 3% isn't random. It's concentrated in genes linked to intelligence, intuition, even lucid dreaming. Are some people today descendants of this lost race? Are they the chosen ones in ancient myths, the star people? And if they left a message, where is it? Using the skull, DNA, and AI modeling, we've created the first full 3D reconstruction of Homo Antiquus. This is not fantasy, this is science. They were tall, over 7 feet, slender, large eyes adapted to low light. And their voice? We've synthesized it from skull structure. This is what they might have sounded like. We remembered, we built, we reached the stars. Then we forgot. The cycle returns. Do not repeat our mistake. The fire comes from above. That's not a quote from a movie. That's a translation of the symbols on the obsidian tablet, cross-referenced with 17 ancient languages and AI prediction. They knew we would come, and they left a warning. So what does this mean? That we weren't the first? That civilization didn't start in Sumer? It survived from before the ice? That every 100,000 years, intelligence rises and falls? Maybe the pyramids, the megaliths, the myths of gods, they're not just stories. Maybe they're memories, faint echoes of what Homo Antiquus built and lost. And if the cycle is real, when does it end again? Look around. Climate change, nuclear threats, AI, asteroid warnings. Are we heading for the same fate? Or can we break the cycle? The skull isn't just a fossil, it's a mirror, and it's asking us, will you remember? Or will you vanish, like they did? They left a warning. Now it's our turn to listen.